How to let go of the past, the Stoic path to peace. Stoicism. There is a chapter of your life you keep reading again. You know how it ends. You know it cannot change. And still, some quiet part of you flips back to that page, night after night, as if this time the words might rearrange themselves into something kinder. Why do we do that? Why do we chain ourselves to a version of a story that is already finished? The Stoics had an answer, and it is not the one you expect. They did not tell you to forget. They told you the truth about where your power actually lives. And once you understand that, the past loosens its grip. Start with the single idea that holds everything else together. The Stoics called it the dichotomy of control. Some things are up to you, and some things are not. Your judgments, your choices, the way you respond right now are yours. Everything else belongs to the world. And here is the part that stings: the past is the most, not up to you, thing that exists. You cannot revise it. You cannot argue with it. It is more fixed than a mountain. So the past is not yours to fix. It never was. To rage against it is to demand that the sun rise in the west. Seneca noticed something even stranger about our suffering. He wrote that we are often more hurt by our imagination than by reality itself. We suffer more in our minds than in our lives. The event happened once. But you have replayed it 1,000 times, adding dread, shame, and cruel little edits that were never there. Think about it. The thing that wounded you lasted a few minutes, a single afternoon. Yet you have given it years. You have let a moment that is over move into your mind, unpack its bags, and live there rent-free. That is not memory doing its job. That is imagination borrowing pain from a past that has already let you go. Marcus Aurelius pushed further. He observed that no one can lose the past or the future, because you cannot lose what you do not have. All anyone ever truly possesses is this present moment, thin as a blade. If the present is all you can lose, it is also all you can live. So why spend it inside a room that no longer exists? Now let us walk the path, step by step. The first step is acceptance of what cannot be changed. Not approval. Not pretending it was fine. Acceptance simply means you stop demanding that reality be different than it is. Picture a decision you regret, maybe a job you turned down, a word you said in anger, a door you closed too soon. You can spend the next 10 years insisting it should not have happened. Reality will not blink. The Stoics practiced a kind of clear-eyed surrender. This is what occurred, these are the facts, and my war against the facts only wounds me. Epictetus reminded his students to want things to happen as they do happen. The moment you stop fighting the unchangeable, an enormous amount of energy comes back to you. That energy was never solving anything. It was just bleeding out. The second step is to separate the event from the story you replay. Something happened. That is the event, and it is small, contained, finished. But wrapped around it is a story, what it means about you, what it says about your worth, how everyone must have judged you. The Stoics taught that we are disturbed not by things, but by our opinions about them. A breakup is an event. I am unlovable and always will be, is a story. Notice how much of your pain lives in the second sentence, not the first. Try this. Describe the memory in plain facts, the way a stranger would, with no adjectives and no verdict. They left. The deal fell through. The words were said. Then watch how many of your added chapters were never actually part of the page. Most of your suffering is commentary, and you are the one who keeps writing it. The third step is to forgive, but understand why. Forgiveness is not a gift you hand to the person who hurt you. It is not for their comfort. It is for your freedom. When you hold a grudge, you carry that person everywhere, rent-free, letting them keep hurting you long after they have gone. The Stoics understood that other people act from their own ignorance and their own wounds. Marcus Aurelius told himself each morning that he would meet the ungrateful and the cruel, and that their actions could not truly harm his character unless he let them. To forgive, in this sense, is to set down a weight. You are not saying it was acceptable. You are saying you refuse to carry it one more mile. The fourth step is to mind the lesson, then close the book. The past is useless as a residence, but it is priceless as a teacher. Look back at that old humiliation, the presentation that fell apart, the trust you misplaced. What did it teach you about preparation, about people, about yourself? Take the lesson. Extract it fully, like ore from rock. And then, deliberately, close the book. The mistake with regret is that we keep the pain but never actually learn the lesson, so we pay the tuition again and again without graduating. The Stoics were relentlessly practical. A memory that improves your next action is wisdom. A memory that only reopens the wound is self-punishment wearing a useful disguise. The fifth step is to stop paying interest on old debts of guilt. Guilt, in its honest form, is brief. It says, you did wrong, make it right, do better. That message takes a moment to deliver. But most of us keep paying interest on that debt for years, long after the principal is settled. You apologized. You changed. And still you punish yourself nightly, as though suffering were a form of penance that the universe is recording. The Stoics would ask a simple question: does this ongoing guilt make you a better person today, or does it merely make you a smaller one? If a debt is paid, keep paying, and you are not being just. You are being cruel to yourself for a crime already answered. The sixth step is to return your attention to the only moment you own. This is the heart of it. Every time your mind drifts back to that room, that conversation, that year, gently bring it home to now. The Stoics practiced attention like a muscle. Marcus wrote that you have power over your mind, not outside events, and that realizing this is where strength is found. The past has exactly as much life as you breathe into it with your attention. Starve it, and it fades to what it truly is, a shadow, harmless, gone. Feel your feet on the floor. Notice your breath. This moment, the one happening as you read, is the only place your life is actually lived. The seventh step is to use memento mori to shrink old grudges. Remember that you will die. It sounds grim, but the Stoics used it as medicine. Zoom out far enough and the insult from a decade ago, the argument, the slight that still makes your jaw tighten, all of it turns small. You have a finite number of mornings left. Ask yourself honestly, do you want to spend one of them rehearsing a grievance from a chapter that closed years ago? Marcus Aurelius kept death beside him not to feel morbid, but to feel free. When you truly grasp how little time you hold, you stop wasting it guarding the ashes of old fires. So here is where the path leads. The past is not a place you can return to and repair. It is finished, sealed, outside your control, and therefore, in the deepest Stoic sense, no longer yours. What is yours is this: the next judgment you make, the next breath you take, the attention you choose to spend. You keep rereading that chapter because some part of you believes reading it again is loyalty, or justice, or safety. It is none of those. It is only pain, repeated. Close the book. Not because the chapter did not matter, but because you have other pages to write, and you cannot write them while your eyes are fixed behind you. The Stoics never promised you a life without scars. They offered something better, the power to stop reopening them. The peace you are looking for was never hidden in the past. It was waiting, quietly, in the only moment you were ever given. This one. Right here. Turn the page.